That's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone, and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. But that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow!
I gotta get rid of that. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Retro Fandango, episode number 230.
No, 230.
That's right. 230.
230, by the way,
yeah.
was the time that my elementary school finished every day.
Interesting. 2:30 you get out.
2:30, yeah.
That seems early to me.
I guess my kids, they tend to get out more like 3 to 4. It changes a little bit day to day, but no, we got out at 2:30. What are we staying at school for?
I'm pretty sure we were until at 3 or 3:30.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How'd they do that to you? Did you go to like a Catholic school or anything, or was it just a regular public school?
I from grade 1, kindergarten to grade 6, I went to kindergarten. No, kindergarten to grade 1, grade 6. Oh my God.
That explains a lot.
I went to Catholic school, and then in grade 7, I switched to a public school.
He just won't leave.
Yeah. Yeah, I went for public school, grade 7 and 8, and then high school was public school.
So you had to do junior high school, high school.
So, you kind of cut out there. Say it again.
Elementary school, junior high school, and then high school.
No, see, yeah, in the States, I noticed this when I was watching the Wonder Years too, and Sarah and I had a conversation about that. You guys have elementary school, then junior high, and then high school, and I guess even in Southern.
Well, that's what some people have. That's not what I had.
Okay.
Mine was kindergarten, and then first grade through 8th grade was all in one school.
Right. Oh,
is that what you had?
No. Our kindergarten was in the same school.
Okay, because I went to a Catholic school that had kindergarten, first grade through 8th grade, and then from there 4 years of high school.
Yeah, I think it's well, it all depends on different districts and that, but I think a lot of it depends on population. In the States, a lot of areas are more populated than in Canada. Southern Ontario is very populated, so in those areas you have your elementary school and the junior high. Junior high is like, is it 6, 7, and 8, or 7, 8, and 9?
I think it's case by case. Like my daughter, she went through 6 years of elementary school. Then it's 7, 8, 9 in junior high school, and then 10, 11, 12 will be high school.
Right. Yeah. Because when I was a kid, there was a show on television, Canadian show called Degrassi Junior High. And I was like, what the hell is junior high? And I think it was 7, 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, you went to elementary school till grade 8, and then you went to high school grade 9 through what we call OAC, which was the Ontario academic something. I don't know. It's basically grade 13. So if you went to 5 years in high school in Ontario in the 80s and 90s, you were that was fine. That was
okay. Ryan's saying he went preschool and kindergarten were separate. Do people go to preschool?
Yeah.
Pre-K?
There you go. Ontario. Sarah's got it. Ontario Academic Credit was OAC. So they have eliminated that, though. That it used to be grade 13, then it was OAC, but they completely eliminated that. Now you go through that when you go to university or college. Basically, it was a way for the government to say, we don't want to pay for this extra year of schooling, so we'll make parents pay for it instead. Progress, people. Progress.
Second is the best. Third is a turd.
I always talk about the comments, because I've been getting people all commenting about being first and all that stuff.
Well, it's a big struggle every day.
Anyways, I just wanted to mention us reaching episode 230,
Mhm.
230, that over on STC Pod, I'm liking the attitude over there. They finally kind of has switched over, or has changed their view over to my way of thinking, because I've been saying forever and a day that it's not necessarily the number of shows that you've done, it's the quality of the shows that you've done. 100
Mhm.
episodes of Days of Our Lives doesn't equal to one episode of Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad or something like that, The Sopranos. So
Fair enough.
I'm hearing that rhetoric finally carrying over onto STC Pod, which have held over our head for the longest time, but they have more episodes than we do. But they finally have changed their way of thinking and have gone to taking my way of looking at it, that you got to do more quality episodes instead of quantity. Quality is more important than quantity.
Mhm.
So I'm excited about that. I can't wait to hear one of their quality episodes. When you guys post it, let me know. Send me a DM, reach out to me on social media. I really want to listen to one of those quality episodes that you guys are talking about. So let me know. Let me know when you start that.
Maybe they're going to get new hosts, and that'll make it
Yeah, maybe that'll
quality.
improve. Maybe that'll improve things. I didn't think of that. Wow. So there you
It's
go.
just what was your what were the Duke cousins?
Coy and Vance.
There you go.
Yeah, get Coy and Vance in there. Ah.
Now,
So what
I
have
think
you
I'm starting
been?
to wake up now.
Are you?
Hmm.
That's good. Just a little
Well, I had one of
STC
those nights.
teapot talk to wake you up.
Maybe it's like smelling salts. Oh man.
Yeah, it certainly smells. Okay.
No, I had one of those nights where I just wake up constantly, like
Uh,
every 45 minutes to an hour. Just seems like I'm tossing and turning. Kind of wake up for 2 minutes and then go back to sleep again.
yeah.
I don't know, and I can't understand why.
Sometimes all you can
Just
do is just
age.
sometimes all you can do is just get up for like 15 minutes, like just kind of change the setting and that. But then
Yeah,
for me, that 15 minutes always ends up being an hour or an hour and a half. And then it's just wrecks the day next day.
yeah. Well, I knew we had this coming up, so I didn't want to stay up too late. Originally, I was thinking, maybe I'll watch a movie tonight. But then, all right, I'll stay up too late. I'll be staring at a screen. It probably won't sleep well. So instead, I'll go through my DVDs and stuff, and because I know I have duplicates and I've had things that I upgraded to Blu-ray. I got the old DVD, or for some reason or another, I can filter through and get rid of some things. So I started doing that, and then I got a nice big stack ready, and I started feeling sleepy. I was like, all right, maybe I can go to bed now. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I didn't feel that tired. So I just laid there and laid there, fell asleep, and then I don't know, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah. It sucks.
Which, by the
Well,
way, I'm still torn anytime I go through and like I'm gonna throw stuff away. It's like I always have that endless debate.
yeah.
Should I keep it? Should I get rid of it?
Yeah.
You know,
I know. I've upgraded recently. My Monty Python from DVD to Blu-ray. Found a couple of
ooh, nice.
yeah. I've got The Meaning of Life, and then I was at my buddy Frank's house the other day, and he was talking about some horror movie. I can't remember which one. I think it was one of those Rob Zombie horror movies that he just wanted to put on to go through the menus and everything, because you remember how much fun the menus were on those old
Yeah,
DVDs. So he put the Blu-ray in, and he's like, none of those old menus are here. And he's asking me,
no.
why do they do that? And I was like, well, they have to upgrade all that stuff to HD. They only charge $10 for the Blu-rays now, instead of $30 or $40 like they were back at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not worth it for them. So
Well, you get
so
that fancy little white arrow, little book for chapters.
all that fun stuff,
Amazing.
And so that reminded me, because I had those Monty Python DVDs in my to go to the thrift store, back to the thrift store, and I'm like, oh, I remember those Monty Python DVDs where they would hide a whole bunch of stuff in there, and There'll be all sorts of silly animations and that. And I don't think they're on the Blu-ray, so looks like I got to keep those too. It's silly, I tell you. This collecting thing, it's just silly.
Well, maybe that'll be the next big thing. Everybody's getting the VHS now and finding the old commercials and
100%,
putting them
man.
up there. The DVD menus, maybe they'll have the technology where they can recreate that and just stick it up online.
Yeah.
Where you can download the menus.
Yeah.
And just click through the buttons and like, oh, now I'm on the chapter page.
Right.
Look at
And
that.
then
Boy.
the
Special
collectors,
features.
the collectors will be like, that's so fake, man. That's not real. You got to get the real thing. You got to get yourself sitting in front of a CRT and going through the menus on a DVD. It's probably going to happen sooner than later. I still can't believe this VHS thing. It's so silly.
Well, I mean, that definitely will happen. The DVD boom is coming. So if you got those fancy ones, hang on to those because they're going to be worth big bucks in like 10 years.
Well, in music right now, in the music collecting world right now, there is a shift back to CDs because the music.
Because you guys bought all the vinyl already?
Well, the music industry is getting greedy now, and they're charging a lot for these vinyl records and then these exclusive pressings and record store day and all that. And it's turning into a real collector driven market instead of like, I just want this to listen to the music kind of thing. And people are starting to reject it. And it's going back to like, well, I could just go to a thrift store and I can buy a CD for a few dollars instead of $50 for a vinyl record. And people are starting to see the value in that. Like, my buddy Frank, he just a banana box full of CDs. He's like, I don't want these anymore. Here you go. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got a banana box full of CDs to go through. But people don't want them anymore. And you can go to a thrift store, you can buy them for $1 or $2. Can't do that with vinyl records, like worthwhile vinyl records, anyways. Rocket Sauce is still waiting on the Beanie Baby boom. Good luck with that. Well,
he's just sitting on his Beanie Babies. Apparently.
Right. Well, here's the thing too, like with the Beanie Babies and all that. That was all like it was the same thing with the baseball cards, right? It was all kind of a fake market that they created, like that they would only release things out like piecemeal kind of thing, and at any point they could just make more Beanie Babies, right? Like it was just a manufactured supply and demand issue. It wasn't like. Like with video games, there was only so many NES carts out there and so many that had gotten wrecked over the years or whatever. So there are some that, there are millions of, certain ones. And then there's others that there isn't that many of. There's only a certain amount that can go around. Whereas even with vinyl records, I mean, there's even on record store day, a record will come out. And this Aerosmith record, it's just out on record store day. You got to go pick it up on record store day. It's going to cost you $40, and then 5-6 months later, they reissue it and get it for $25. Like at any point they could always just make more. They can always make more of these things.
And eventually we'll get to that point where people just start buying what they need or just what makes them happy.
Yeah, well, if the way that this economy is going and everything, you're going to see more people start spending less and less on the frivolous stuff because the necessities are just going crazy, man. I bought a one of those little half pressed hams, one of those little guys.
Ham in a can?
Not ham in a can, but it's like a, like a real ham has like the bone in it, right? And you slice it around the bone.
Oh yeah, it looks like one of those Warner Brother hams. Those are delicious looking.
Well, they are fantastic. My mom used to make one every New Year's, and they were excellent. But you just go to the store. It's got that little pressed ham. It's just a thing. But normally they're like around $5, $18. For a friggin' half a little pressed ham. This is insane. I
was amazed that I saw a turkey the other day. It was at Costco, and they had literally one frozen turkey.
Wow.
Yeah,
For
which
Thanksgiving.
well, post Thanksgiving,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess they had it stuck in the back somewhere. But I was walking down the aisle, and then they got all the boxes of this, all the boxes of this, and then just one turkey sitting there. Nobody's gonna buy because nobody has an oven big enough for them here.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Wow. And so I guess you don't have an oven big enough, so you didn't buy that
I
turkey.
do not. I do not. No.
That's too bad.
Hmm.
Well, yeah. Want to talk about some movies?
I can. I didn't watch as many, and I only have 3 things to show.
Oh my goodness. Well, don't worry. I got you covered because
Oh, thank goodness.
after we sold the in-laws home, it was finally safe enough for us to get the vaccine booster and our flu shot. So let me tell you, the first time I took the vaccine, the COVID-19, I was out for like a week. That thing knocked me down. And the second time was about 5 days, but it wasn't as bad as the first. I just felt off. Then I think the third one, they gave us like a half a dose or something. So that wasn't as bad. But last year, when I got the shot, I was off for about a day and a half. I got it and it was okay. So this time, planning on the same thing. I'm going to be off for a day and a half. This thing kicked my ass for like 5 days. We got it on Wednesday. I didn't start feeling normal until the following Tuesday. So maybe it was 6 days. 6 days. I would try to do stuff. I would try to do stuff around the house and that, and I would be like out of breath. Like, oh my God, this thing is still. And so I wasn't happy with that. But I did sit on the couch and watch a lot of movies while I recovered from all that. So
Okay. It's like they tweaked the recipe a bit there, huh?
well, it's different every time, right? There's different strains and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why I react that way to them. I know people that take them. My in-laws, they're in their 80s. They get these shots. No big deal. Me, it's like right away. Like I got this shot and my arm just started swelling right up. I was like, oh my God. I couldn't even lift my arm. We went to the grocery store right after to get some, just some necessities. And up on one of the top shelves, I was holding on to like milk and what was it? I don't know, a couple of heavy things I had in my one hand. And I'm like, hey, let's get that yogurt up there on the top shelf. And Sarah's like, okay, go grab it. I'm like, I can't move my. It was like that, that Muppet thing where there was like the one Muppet that had the arms over his head so he could pick the stuff off the tree, but he couldn't eat it. And then there's the other Muppet that just had the arms that he couldn't. He could reach his mouth, but he couldn't reach up to the tree. So they had to work together. The one Muppet would take the apple off the tree, and the other Muppet would be able to feed the other. That's what I felt like. I felt like that one Muppet, and Sarah was the Muppet with the arms up.
Oh,
yeah.
They just felt like an old man.
Pretty much. Yeah. We got Deke here. Hey, Deke.
Hey.
Sauce wants to know if I've asked for a different flavor of that vaccine. I take whatever they give me, whatever they got there, just give it to me. Maybe that's my problem.
Yeah, maybe they should make it more like when you go to the ice cream parlor. You're like, yeah, I'll take a scoop of this, a little bit of that,
little
some whipped cream on top.
Sure.
Soften it up with some gummy bears or something.
Yeah. Yes, they are side effects of the vaccine. It's all, yes. Anyways, so the first movie I tried to watch, every time I turn on the Tubi, it recommends this movie. Oh, did I forget my phone? Oh, yeah, crap. Forgot my phone. I had everything all set up on my phone. I got to open up another window here in the computer. So I don't want to mess up the name. I don't want to mess up the name. Well, because on the letterbox, that's where I have what everything I watched. I can't remember everything I watched. Okay, yeah. So the first movie I tried to watch was it was called Tubi. Every time I turn it on, it recommends this movie. It's called Colors, and it stars Robert Duvall and Sean Penn. It's from the late 80s.
1988.
Yeah, and they play a couple of cops, LA cops that are all into gang enforcement. This special division of the LAPD that works solely on I don't know, policing gangs in LA.
Oh, it's got it's got Maria Conchita Alonso.
Who dat?
Who dat? She was Arnold's co-star in The Running Man.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah.
she was also one of the cops in Predator 2.
Yes.
She's one of those actresses that like I know from a couple movies, and then if I find out she's in something else, I go like, oh, okay, she did do other work.
Sas says here he's been using Tubi more than any paid services. I don't have any paid services, and I gotta say, I'm kind of annoyed at Tubi because they do have a lot of content there, but I remember back in my day, you would throw on Tubi and they would show you a commercial at the beginning, and then maybe somewhere in the middle of the movie they show you another commercial,
right?
And then that'd be it. Sometimes there wouldn't be any commercials at all, but now it's full on commercial breaks. Especially the closer you get to the end of a movie, it's like bam, bam, bam. I'm
every
like
5 minutes.
Now it's like I think I'm motivated to get over to the Pirate Bay and download the movie, so I don't have to sit through all these. There's only so many Huggies commercials I can sit and watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might want to purchase some of those movies too.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll buy them on
big DVD boom.
I'll buy them on. I'll buy physical copies if I see them out there for cheap or whatever. But like to buy, I know Frank, my buddy Frank, does that all the time. He rents movie like digital copies of movies or
I've never done that.
Me neither.
I've seen that little advertisement for so many years
Yeah.
now. I was like, hey, $2.99, $1.99.
Yeah, that's
like this. I was like, no.
Well, they're
I
more
don't
than
know if I can tolerate that.
Yeah, they're more than that here. It's like $5 $5 to rent, $10 to buy, and
Wow.
I just can't bring myself to do that, especially when I have other ways of getting the movies. Anyways, so I watched this movie Colors, and this is one of the side effects that I've never really had before, but with this shot, it really gave me a lot of brain fog. Like I could not, this had to be like a simple movie. It couldn't have been that complicated, but I could not follow the story in this movie at all. I was like, what is going on? Who's this guy? What's that? And so after I like read on Wikipedia what the plot line was, and I'm like, okay, that all makes sense. So I don't know. I think I just had brain fog or something. Don Cheadle's in the movie too. The man has never aged. He looks exactly like Don Cheadle today. It is insane.
He's the War Machine.
But yeah, it was an okay movie. It was fine. It was a little, it's dated. This was before the riots even in LA, so it's like very 80s war on drugs kind of vibe to it, but not all in on that. They still have like some sort of foot set in reality. But it wasn't bad. It was okay. So after that, and I couldn't really follow that movie, I'm like, okay, I really need to dumb things down for myself. I just need some simple stories to follow. I can't have anything too complicated. So I went in and I watched all 3 Missing in Action films by Chuck Norris.
Yeah. All right.
Baby. All right. So on this one disc, it's not even a flipper, it's just on one disc, we have Missing in Action 2, the beginning, and Braddock, Missing in Action 3.
All right. Now, I have one question before you start your explanation here. Are those movies in widescreen?
Yes. 2 and 3 were in full widescreen. The first one was in letterbox widescreen. So I
Okay.
did have to go into my TV and change the setting to blow it up.
Hmm.
And it didn't look that bad. They all looked fine.
Okay, yeah. It's just I've got a Chuck Norris compilation like that, and I'd say like 2 out of 3 are 4 by 3.
Mm.
I was like, well, what's going on here?
No, none of the movies are upscaled. All my Blu-ray player and the TV were doing all the upscaling for this stuff, but it looked okay. So interesting, a little bit of an interesting history with this. So 1 and 2, Missing in Action 1 and 2 were made at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. Now, Missing in Action 2 was actually designed to come out before Missing in Action 1. That's why
Hmm.
Missing in Action 2 is called The Beginning, because it is a prequel.
Okay.
But when the movie studios got the films, they decided to release the second movie first because it was a better movie than the first,
Hmm.
which I have to call shenanigans on because both of these movies are quite boring. I don't know.
Well, you still got to go with the less boring movie.
I mean, when I first started watching the first one, Missing in Action, after about 15 minutes, I stopped the movie and I started looking on Amazon for the Blu-rays because I'm like, this is so much fun. I think I'm gonna want all these on Blu-ray. But then I was like, okay, no, wait. Cooler heads prevail. Keep going. Let's make sure before you start spending like $30 on just one Blu-ray. Let's
Hmm.
just watch the rest of your, I don't know. I think I got this for a couple of bucks, right? And yeah, it just kind of it. So the opening it's fun. He's on trial for all these crimes that he committed in during the Vietnam War.
Okay.
The Vietnamese government is like the Vietnamese ambassador. They're all putting him on trial for all these war crimes and everything that he has done. Again, like the movies are released out of order, so you would have seen all the war crimes in the second film, right? And then the
Hmm.
first film. So, but it's fun because he's got the cheesy one-liners and stuff like that. But then once he's trying to find his friends, his like POWs that are in Vietnam, right? And the movie takes place in the early 80s. So the war's been over for about 5 years, but there's still POWs over there. The Vietnamese government is denying everything. They're like, no, there's no and but Braddock knows that they are there. So he goes over there to save his friends, kind of thing. And there's some general or something that has POWs in a camp somewhere, blah blah blah. Chuck Norris just kind of goes in and rescues them. And it's I don't know, it's very generic, very boring action.
Yeah, it's
Like the
no, I'm sorry.
director.
I know I watched this not too long ago, probably within the past year, and I can't remember anything. When you just said something about the trial, that clicked. Like, is he like in a hotel or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's for
Like,
some reason that's the only thing I remember.
well, yeah, I think
None of the action scenes.
I think the hotel thing sticks out to you because that was one of the most dragged out sequences I had ever
Oh,
seen.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, he's in the hotel, but then he like dresses in black and sneaks out the window
Yep,
to like go snoop around or
right.
something. Okay.
Yeah,
All
but they
right.
they
Yeah.
show so he's on the second floor and they show him like every step of the way going down like scaling down this building, and then there's like
Right.
guards down there. You
Going
gotta go up a little bit, and then he goes down. It's like it just keeps going on and on and on. And like, okay, I got through that. He finally goes to where he needs to go. He gets the information that he needs to go find his friends, and then they show him going all the way back and all this stuff. And it's like that they find out that there was somebody in the offices, and they're like, it's Braddock. Let's rush to the back to the hotel and catch Braddock red-handed. And
Mhm.
that they're going to get there and he's going to be in bed with his lady friend that's
Yeah.
already
Mhm.
there, and they're all going to be embarrassed because they were like, oh, we thought you were stealing files out of our office. We didn't know you were in here with the lady. And so you know where this is going, but still they got to show every single step of the way. You're like,
you're waiting for the payoff.
Let's go
on the edge of your seat.
Oh,
just talking about somebody walking around on the edge, on the outside edge of a building. Now I want to watch The Naked Gun.
Yeah, those are worth
Drebin
watching.
did it better.
I would watch those again. So,
sorry, another side tangent just before I forget. There are a series of videos on YouTube where it's like Leslie Nielsen in Star Wars or something. And it's just clips from The Naked Gun, but they, pretty well done. They just crop out Frank Drebin and his car and then stick him in scenes from like Star Wars or other movies.
That'd be great.
They're really short and, it's basically premise funny. Just look at it like, haha, that's silly, and then it's over.
Yeah.
It's worth checking out if you come across them.
What I've been getting recommended to me a lot are the Leslie Nielsen interviews that he used to do with if you don't remember this or know this, in the late 90s, Leslie Nielsen was notorious for going onto these press junkets, and he would just have a reporter come in the thing, and he would have on him a whoopee cushion. And he would sit there, Frank Drebin style, like serious interview. I'm doing a serious interview, and he would press that whoopee cushion at the right moments every time. And the reporters like wouldn't know what to do. Like, is he farting right now or whatever? And he's just deadpan. Look it up on YouTube. It's good. Some of them get it right away. Some of them are in the joke right away. But then there's others that are like, what is going on? Good times. All right, Missing in Action 2. Yeah, this was one. That one was actually made first, and I don't know. It's so forgettable. I don't even remember anything from it. It was so forgettable. So maybe the movie studio was onto something, but still, they were both boring. Okay, third movie. Sauce here mentions First Blood Part 2. So both these two movies were made in the early 80s, like 82, 83, or they came out. They were made at the same time. But Missing in Action 3, Braddock, Missing in Action, this one definitely came out after First Blood Part 2, because this one does ape a lot of that movie, just in terms of style and everything. It's probably I don't want to... Death Wish 3 that's elevating this movie a little too high, but it is the Death Wish 3 of these three movies. It's definitely
all right,
the more fun of it, like for wrong, like good for wrong reasons. It's still not great. It's still boring. It's still like by the time I got to this movie, I was rooting for the Vietnamese communist army because they make sense. He keeps coming into their country, blowing stuff up, and then he just leaves. And it's like, well, yeah, I kind of understand why. I'm not saying I agree with them. I just understand why they're upset, why they want to put him on trial, because he keeps just coming into their country and blowing stuff up, whether he's right or wrong.
That's what he does.
Like in this movie. So in this movie, he gets a visit from his friend who is a missionary, a priest missionary, who, hey, Braddock, your long lost, none of the other movies mention this, of course, but your long lost wife and son are in Vietnam. And he's like, what do you mean? I've seen them. I saw them die. He's like, no, you saw the wrong thing. They're still alive. I know exactly where they are. Now, a sane person would say, okay, priest, this is what I need you to do. I need you to grab my wife and my kid. I need you to get them to the Thailand border, and we'll get them out of that country. But that's not what Braddock does. Braddock's just going to go in and shoot everything that moves until I get my... And of course, spoiler alert, he kills his friggin' wife in the process because he's so friggin' barbaric.
Really?
Like, come on.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
He doesn't kill his wife, but his wife dies in the process of him trying to rescue them. And it's like, dude.
Well, I was under the assumption it would just be the priest was lying. And it was just all a setup to get him in there.
No, the priest was not lying. This is Chuck Norris. This is very like pious, it's not going to be... Oh my goodness,
Sauce was right, because he's asking, is there a co? And yeah, Braddock's wife was co. She was expendable.
Yeah, and talks the exact same way, like as if she's a caveman. Not a person from Vietnam with a Vietnamese accent. She just talks like a caveman or a cave woman. Sorry. Anyways.
Wow. There you go.
Anyways, out of the three, I would recommend Braddock Missing in Action 3 just for some fun. You don't need to watch 1 and 2. They are quite boring, but
occasionally I have seen that. But for some reason, they're not the cheapo DVDs. Sometimes that'll be like up to $10. And I'm like, no.
Oh, I would not recommend anyone spend $10 on any of these.
No, you shouldn't spend more than like $3 on a Chuck Norris movie. Even the good ones.
Yeah. Like Chuck Norris is I'll tell you the other thing Chuck Norris does is he really makes you appreciate what Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone do as action stars because he is so bad.
He's so stoic and just flat expressionless.
Yeah, like he's sitting there with a big machine gun and he's shooting everything and he's just like his no expression on his face. Like, dude, come on.
In front of the camera.
The funny thing is too is he is like he needs to go into this so where his POWs are or his I might be confusing the movies. I don't know. I watched them all at once and I did have COVID fog.
Yeah.
But there's one part where he needs to go into this base and free some POWs. And he needs to go in stealth-like. Does he go in quietly? No, he's got the biggest friggin' gun with like, it has like a machine gun and then a grenade launcher on it. And it's so funny because he's sneaking through this one part. He's got this huge gun and someone catches him, right? So it's like one of the Vietnamese guards catches him and grabs the gun. And then, of course, this gun just has a bayonetta that just sticks out. It's like, yeah, that's a
bayonet.
It has a knife too. Why not? You know,
he gets whatever he needs. That's the Chuck Norris that's in Broforce. They got the Braddock. Well, actually, they have Texas Ranger.
Yeah, he's Walker. Isn't
There's two versions of him.
Okay. Yeah, there's this one part where he gets this one Vietnamese guard in a headlock, and he's just holding him in a headlock. And there's like he doesn't move or anything; he's just holding him there. And then there's a sound effect like, and the actor who has his head in there just goes like, and he doesn't even move. Just all right, didn't even have to do anything.
Doesn't have to. He just flexed his bicep a little bit.
Didn't even flex. Oh, anyways, there you go. I didn't expect to spend that much time on the Braddock movies, but
how can you not talk about Chuck Norris?
I guess it was warranted the discussion.
Now wait a minute. Did you sit down and watch all three of those in one day?
I watched the first two in one day, and then I watched the third on the next day.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't the COVID fog. Maybe it was the Norris fog that was getting to you.
Could have been. I don't know. There was it. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So a couple more simple movies. So after that, I was like, okay, enough with Chuck Norris. So I have a couple of Jet Li movies that been wanting to get to, and I decided.
Oh, Danny the dog. No, you saw that one already.
Danny the dog. Oh, what's that?
Isn't it called Danny the dog or something? What's his name? British guy, Super Mario. What's his name? Bob Hoskins.
Oh yeah.
Was this where Bob Hoskins had him on a leash or something?
Yeah. That movie here is called is it Fearless or something like that? I don't know. A lot of Jet Li movies have different names. Depending on which. Anyways, I decided to watch these two because they had like a similar color scheme to their, like whatever, the Jet Li collection.
Okay, the one on my left, the Defender there, I remember that image for some reason, the Jet Li.
Okay, so this movie is called The Bodyguard from Beijing, on your side of the globe. Here it's just called The Defender. This movie came out like 1995. It is cheesy as all heck. Like it is a real hokey story. The female character in this movie is just written terribly. Like she's just I don't know, but the rest of the movie's really pretty good. Like I did have me rooting for all the characters in this. I quite enjoyed this one. What the heck did I say? I'm trying to remember now. Oh yeah, and of course, like these have terrible dubbing. Both of them have terrible English dubs on them. There's no subtitles or anything like that. These are old DVDs, right? These came out like early, 2000s, late 90s or whatever. So they still look good on the 4K TV, but so this one was pretty good. This one, The Enforcer.
At least The Enforcer.
So this one is called. Oh, what the heck is it called on your side? Something about the father. Well, anyways,
The Enforcer. Here, let me find it.
It's called
My Father is a Hero.
Yes, that's it. Okay, My Father is a Hero. Okay, so that's important because this movie is the Death Wish 3 of all Jet Li movies.
Ooh, okay. That's how you sell anything.
This
Death Wish 3.
This is so bad. It is good. It is just bonkers how bad and crazy it is. So the villain is like a cliche of every, villain from every film. But more really what makes this movie so crazy is just everything that he does in it. So his kid basically has to go in and he has to save his kid. At one point he uses his kid as a weapon. Like he ties his kid to a rope and he's like throwing his kid around, taking out the bad guys. Just a dog attacks him at one point, and then it's just all of a sudden a shot of Jet Li holding a stuffed dog, and he just cracks it in half. Just get this dog out of here.
Okay, wait, I gotta write this down.
There's one part where his kid is like, it doesn't make any sense. Like the technology doesn't really make sense. He has a beeper, like an old school, like the movie is from the late 90s, right? So he has a beeper, and
was he a drug dealer?
No, he is a cop. So he's a cop. He's undercover in China or in Hong Kong. He's a cop. He's undercover in Hong Kong, and his wife is back home. She's sick and dying. His wife dies at one point. They kind of gloss over it because they got this like other romantic story to get to. Like he's got this other female character that he needs to fall in love with. So his wife just kind of conveniently dies because you got to get to this romance story between these other two. But anyways, his son is like captured by these drug dealers or something like that. Again, I watched this all with the COVID fog, so I'm trying to remember it. But I need to watch it again. I want to watch tomorrow. We're having bad movie night. I'm going to push for this movie because his son has a cell phone, one of the old cell phones with the little flip on the end, and he's calling his dad because he's in like this. So they're in like the bad guy security place, and his son like is in the security. He's got all the security monitors, and on the security monitors, it's marked with like marker on the screens where the bombs are that Jet Li needs to go in and defuse. It's like it'd be like a shot of like a dock, and there'd be like a marker like right on the screen where the bomb is, right? So the kid is talking into his cell phone, telling his dad where the bombs are, and his dad is just reading all of this on a pager. It's like, how is any of this possible? He's just like, okay, Dad, you need to go like 3 feet, and he's just like, just reading this on a pager. What is going on? It makes no sense. At one point, his son, he's on a boat, and he's like, I need to get over to this other part, but the bad guys are on the boat. I need a place to hide on the boat. So his son like straps himself to the back of the boat, and you just see the boat like moving through the water, and his son's just like in the water, just dragged by this boat. It is a bonkers movie, man. It is insane. There's no bazooka or anything like that at the end, but him whipping his kid around on a rope. I mean, I watched the last half of this movie, I was having trouble sleeping. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching this at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm laughing my ass off. And it's not often that I laugh out loud at movies when I'm watching them by myself.
It is a rare thing, yeah.
This movie I would recommend you pick up for $10.
I wrote it down.
With like, it's not great. It's not good. It's just a really terrible time. And I do wish I could find the original, dubbed version with just some English subtitles. But anyways, recommend that. Look for that. And
I will check it out.
Okay. What else did I watch? What other crap here did I watch? I watched this Donnie Yen movie, Big Brother, which, again, it's hokey. It's a really hokey film. He plays a teacher in Hong Kong.
Oh, this one is a little more recent, isn't it? Something about that image. I think I've seen that too.
2018, I think this came out.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a teacher in Hong Kong. We were just talking about this in the last episode about how they really put a lot of pressure on students these days to get to pass these tests. You have to pass this test, and that determines their entire future, what kind of job they're going to have, what school they go to, blah, blah, blah. So he's trying to prepare this sort of island of misfit kids, that are, no teacher just wants to spend any time with them or that. So he goes above and beyond to get these kids prepared for this test so they can have a life. It's really cheesy. It's really corny. There's a couple of good fight scenes in here, though, where he fights some MMA guys, which I'm always happy to see MMA guys get their butts kicked. So anytime they do that, but very cheesy. So I paid a whopping $3 for that. If you could see that, anyways.
You got yourself a spare Blu-ray case.
That's right. Oh, I would keep that movie. I might watch it again. I don't know. Might not. This keeps happening to me. I don't know why, but people, they know I like, car chases, and I do like cheesy movies. I do. And people just keep insisting on recommending the Fast and the Furious movies to me. They're like, you got to watch the Fast and the Furious movies. I'm like, oh, I saw most of the first one. No. You got to start with Hobbs and Shaw. And I'm like,
isn't that like one of the last ones?
Well, no, when those two characters come into the franchise, which is like the fourth or fifth one or something like that. And so I ended up, I found on HD DVD, I found the Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Oh no!
Oh yes.
Yeah, now, I've seen parts of that.
Now, what I thought, this was my line of thinking, is that I'm not a fan of the Fast and Furious stuff, but the Fast and Furious fans, don't like this movie. This is regarded as the worst one out of the series. So I thought, well, maybe this will be my favorite because I don't have the same taste they do. Maybe this will be no. Fast and Furious fans are right. This is hot garbage. It makes 0 sense. It's supposed to, like, everybody in this movie is supposed to be in high school, but everyone looks 35. They got 5 o'clock shadow. Even the ladies got 5 o'clock shadow. It makes 0 sense. So please stop recommending Fast and Furious movies to me. It's all close up, shaky cam. I like, the camera back and you watch the cars go through the shot, and get to see the stunts as they happen, not just shaky cam really fast right in front of your face kind of stuff. I don't like any of that stuff. So
watch Bullet.
Yes, Bullet or the 7-Ups or the French Connection. Those are my kind of, car chase. Even I do like the cheesy stuff from the 70s too, like Smokey and the Bandit or
there you go.
I did watch I'm forgetting I watched because they were on Tubi. I watched we talked about Death Race 2000.
Yeah.
I ended up watching that the very next day.
That was the Stallone Carradine one?
Yeah. So David Carradine's like the main guy, and Stallone plays the bad guy in it. Honestly, it's not a great movie. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. It
Hmm.
it has a lot of sci-fi kind of stuff in it, and it tries to do the RoboCop thing,
Ooh.
even though the movie came out way before RoboCop, but it just doesn't execute it very well. Like it tries to have a lot of social commentary and whatnot on, I don't know. It was very much like the Running Man kind of thing, where it's all done within the this game show, but there's real consequences. Like these people are racing from New York to LA, and they get points for the amount of people that they kill.
Hmm.
Uh, the fix is in for the guy on top, and blah blah blah. And I don't know. It's meant, a lot of it's meant to be an allegory for a lot of things, and it just really didn't work for me. I didn't really care for it. But the same team, uh, their very next film was a movie called Cannonball, which
Okay.
the Cannonball Run movies, the Burt Reynolds Cannonball Run movies, kind of took the idea from it, which is based on a real thing, the Cannonball Run through the United States kind of thing. This one was just more action kind of thing. Still wasn't that great, but they dropped all the kind of sci-fi kind of thing, and
Hmm.
they just raced. It just raced, and there was a lot of
Okay.
action. That
The Drive.
Yeah, they're both on Tubi. They were okay. Not great, but okay. What else did I watch? I watched Asteroid City, which is the new movie by the guy. What's his name? Anderson, Paul Thomas Anderson. The Is that the right guy? Yeah, Paul.
Oh, Asteroid City. Is that the one with Tom Hanks?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I saw a trailer for that.
So yeah, Paul Thomas, the guy who did Moonrise
Wes Anderson.
Kingdom, Wes Anderson. See, I get the names confused all the time. So, is that Wes Anderson? Is that his name?
There's Wes Anderson, there's Paul Thomas Anderson, and there's uh who's Biohazard, a Resident Evil guy.
Yeah,
W
W.
S Anderson.
There's too many Andersons. Yeah. Anyway,
I forget their names now.
Wes Anderson, the Moonrise Kingdom, Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums guy. Anyways, this is his
Yep.
latest movie. Beautiful looking film. He it all takes place in this little Western town, and the visuals and everything are like out of a Looney Tunes, like a Roadrunner cartoon, done purposely with that intent. Like you just look at it and it's like, this is like looking at a live action. If you wanted to make a live action Roadrunner cartoon, this is what you wanted it to look like. But the story is just nonsensical. None of it makes any sense. There is some sort of purpose to it, like throughout the entire
Don't
movie.
spoil it because I might watch this someday.
I'm not spoiling anything. It just
Okay.
they keep saying there's this thing this theme that they keep saying, like, keep telling the story, even if it doesn't make any sense. Just keep telling the story, and I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. Maybe other people get something out of it, but I don't know. I don't know what the heck was going
Well,
on.
that has been my reaction to a lot of his films, of just like, well, it looks great. There's a lot of technical prowess here, but the story, the character, something about it just never grabs me.
Yeah, and sometimes I do agree with you with that, and sometimes I don't. I don't know. He's very hit or miss with me. There's some movies of his that I love. But the amount of times I try to watch a Life Aquatic, like I can't get into it. It doesn't make any sense to me. And this is another one, just doesn't make any sense. And there is, like, every celebrity is in this film. Like, so you got Jason Schwartzman, who's I think is in all of his films. But you got ScarJo, Tom Hanks, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Ed Norton, Liv Schreiber, William Dafoe is in it. I'm not going to tell you who plays the alien because that's a little bit of a surprise. Matt Dillon's in it. A lot of celebrities in it, but it's just not very good. Not very good. Okay, what else did I watch? Oh, I wanted to ask you about this because you're from New Jersey.
I am?
You're originally
All
from New
right.
Jersey. Do you know? Have you ever been? Do you know of the legend of what the hell was the name of that? Action Park.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never been there. And I remember the commercials when I was a kid.
Yeah,
But no, did you watch that documentary?
I did. Have you
Okay.
seen it?
No, but Class Action Park.
That's right. Yes,
Yes. Hmm.
really good. It's fantastic. I thought it was an excellent documentary. So if you don't know what Action Park is, only in America could there be an Action Park.
Hmm.
Basically, this guy built this. Um, it was like a water park. There was also sports racing, like go-kart racing in it, and something else. Can't remember. But it was basically a big theme park where there were all the regulations were kind of glossed over,
Loose. Yeah.
very loose. So, a lot of people went there and had a good time, on these wacky water slides and stuff like that. But a lot of people got hurt. Some people even got killed.
Mm.
There's a lot of bitterness from a lot of families where, their loved one went off to have a good time and didn't come back. Uh, the place kept going because it was done in this small community outside of New York. So they would get, or it was outside of New Jersey, but they would get a lot of people from New York City and from the, area into this park. But the small community was basically funded by the theme park. Everybody worked there, right? All the
Mm.
tourists and everything would come. Even if you were at a restaurant, all the tourists would be coming into your restaurant to eat because they were on their way to Action Park. A lot of people I saw on Letterboxd were complaining that the movie was uneven, or it was kind of all over the place. Like there wasn't like a real cohesive kind of message that the movie was trying to say or anything like that. But it's a documentary. I think if the purpose of a documentary is to tell people's story, and if some people went there and had a good time, that's their story. If some people went there and got hurt and went through a big lawsuit and everything, that's their story. If another person went there and got killed, that's the end of their story.
Mm.
So when you have all these conflicting experiences at one place, well, yeah, it's going to be all over the place. At one point, you're going to be talking about a child dying. At the next point, you're going to talk about like this wacky contraption that they made. So yeah, a lot of the engineering in the place was very just stuff slapped together. Like this one guy who ran the park, he would just kind of like come up with these ideas and the engineers would just create it. And then they would get employees at the park to kind of test the stuff out. And they would come out with like missing teeth or, all broken bones or whatever. And they'd be like, okay, well, I guess we have to adjust this, and meanwhile, the guy would just hand him $100, for testing out the ride. And they're like, they got a broken arm or whatever,
Mm.
Um,
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it, but from what you described, if the whole issue is that there was a whole lot of crazy stuff going on, dangerous stuff, people getting hurt, killed, yet the park managed to continue operating, the documentary feels like, yeah, we're touching on this horrible stuff, but then, hey, check out this crazy new ride. It feels like that same vibe of, wait, there's dark stuff going on here, right? But now you're just talking about something else.
it doesn't exist any longer, right? It's from the past. Like
Oh
it's
yeah, that place is long shut
yeah,
down.
it's shut down. So it's not like they were an advertisement for. I see what you're saying, but
No, I'm just saying it's like, of that time, people look at it now and say, well, this was so horrible. How could this happen? Well, because there's a distraction. We gloss over it and we move on to something
yeah,
else.
people were having a good time.
Yeah.
So and
I
at the
mean, a
time,
good documentary should make you think about what you just saw, not,
right, exactly, not steer
you
you in a
develop your own,
exactly,
develop your
that's
own opinion based on the facts that you have just seen.
100%. But
Document.
I think the kids these days that watch this stuff, they just want to be told what to think or whatever. You got to think for yourself. You got to think. Like what I found interesting was that the place existed at all, and it just kind of existed in this pocket of capitalism. Because we can make money if we do this thing, and yeah, some people get hurt, but then then there's also the thing of personal responsibility. Like there were people that knew that if they went there, they were going to get hurt, but they wanted to go on the rides for the experience anyways. You know, at what level do you say, well, you can't do that because it's too dangerous or whatever? You know, these people just seem to want to do it. And like these were all, you know, Jersey Guidos. They were the people from what's that show? Jersey Shore. So those kind of people. Like there was people that went there and they were traumatized, not because of the ride, but because they might have wussed out if on some part of a ride. Like there would be like a part where you're supposed to like jump down onto something or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm not going to do it," and then the entire crowd is just yelling at them. You know, you're a pussy or whatever, blah blah blah, and they're traumatized because of that. You know. Anyways, it's good fun. It's a good movie.
Hey,
I enjoyed it.
Life in the 80s, huh?
That's the only place it could have existed, was in the United States in the 80s in Jersey. All right. I'm almost finished here. I did watch okay, I'm gonna end on that one because that one was really good. I'll just go through a couple of okay, I watched so my friend Frank, he lent me this weird movie called Bangkok Dangerous with Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Which
is this one of those straight to, or maybe not a major theatrical release?
So it was a theatrical release, but that's only because it came out in 2009. If it came out today,
back a little bit.
Yeah, if it came out today, direct to video. I don't understand. Like I understand that some people like it when Nicolas Cage does an over the top performance, and I have, you know, like Moonlight or Moonstruck. That's like a really over the top performance, and I do like that. But I don't understand like this was just boring. It was just a boring, generic action film. It was like John Wick, but it's just Nicolas Cage with like this really bad haircut kind of thing, and the action was really slow, and the whole thing was just I don't know. I didn't get it. Another movie he lent me was this movie called Talk to Me, which is like I guess this is like the latest horror film that has the buzz, like the indie horror film of 2023. I didn't get it. I don't really get these kind of movies. They're just really not my thing. I know a lot of people like this stuff, but to me, like just all the characters in it are boring. It's the old Ouija story, kind of like Ouija board story kind of thing, where instead of a Ouija board, you hold on to this ceramic hand kind of thing, and you say to the hand, "Talk to me," and if you're holding on to the hand, a dead person will show up on the other side of the table that you're sitting at, and only you can see him. Nobody else in the room can see the dead person. And then if you say, "I let you in," then the dead person comes into your body, and it's like you're possessed. But then like the people at the table have this timer, and if you go past 90 seconds, that's not good, because then the dead person might stay. So they cut you off after 90 seconds. But then after the experience, you had this horrible experience for 90 seconds, but the euphoria that you feel afterwards, it's like a drug high or something like that. So the movie is just kind of all over the place. It's a little bit of an allegory about taking drugs. It's all these young people that are doing this thing. But then it kind of tries to talk about, you know, grief and losing a family member. And I don't know. It was just, the whole messaging was kind of all over the place. It was very predictable. I've seen this kind of stuff before. It just, I don't know. I mean, for a lot of people, I think all they really need in a movie is just a lot of horrific images, and that's their thing, right? I don't care what the story is about. I don't care about the characters. I just want to see a lot of horrific images. And I'm going to recommend this movie to you because I like seeing horrific images, and here you go. Watch some horrific images. For me, it does absolutely nothing for me. You know, like a lot of horrible things happen in The Exorcist. That's not what pulls me into that movie. What pulls me into that movie is the relationship between the mother and the daughter. And the mother, like really the mother is, to me, is the main focus of that film, and everything she's trying to go to save her daughter and everything like that. That's a part of the story that I find suspenseful. You know, is she going to be able to get her daughter out of this situation? Is the priest going to be able to save her? Is, you know, can anyone help this little girl? Right? Like, that's the suspense for me. With this, it's just, you know, dumb people making dumb decisions. You know, like I don't want to give too much of it away because it is a newer film, and a lot of people on Letterboxd were rating it very high. But for me, those kind of movies just really don't do much for me. I watched a couple of Roger Corman films off my Roger Corman collection.
Creature collection.
Yeah, so the one movie I watched was quite awful. You'll have no desire. You have no need to ever watch Attack of the Giant Leeches. It's
fun name, though.
It is a fun name, and I thought it'd be a very fun movie, but it's just kind of boring. And the creatures in it, they're only in it for about 5 minutes. So,
well, that's one of the, when was this made? Like the 50s, 60s?
Yeah, like 1959. Okay, yeah. A great movie that you're going to want to put on your list is this one called Bucket of Blood. Get that?
Bucket of Blood.
Bucket of Blood. So this movie. I've heard of that one. So I found I didn't know anything about it. I chose that one because I put all of my movies into like a random thing. So it's just like whatever movie comes up, that's what I'm watching next because I don't want to have to
I've thought of doing that. So you got a special app for that?
No, I just put everything into a spreadsheet, like a Google spreadsheet. And then I tell Google just
random.
I got like 500 movies in here. Just give me a random number between 1 and 500 and it'll give me the number. Then I go over the spreadsheet and I play that number. So I do that when I can't decide what to watch. If I want to watch something, I watch it. But, you know, if I can't decide to watch. So anyways, I couldn't decide. So Sarah and we watched Bucket of Blood. This movie I found out later that it's actually considered to be one of Roger Corman's best. It stars.
It is Dick Miller.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, yeah, I have heard of this.
So Dick Miller, if you don't know, he's an actor who was around for a long time. He passed away not too long ago, but he was known for being in all of Joe Dante's films. The guy who made
he was Mr. Futterman and the Gremlins.
Right.
He was in The Burbs as a garbage man. He did a ton of stuff.
After watching this movie, I fully understood why Joe Dante was obsessed with him as an actor and wanted him in all of his films because. If I was a young Joe Dante and I saw this movie, I'd be like, yeah, I want Dick Miller to have more work because he's really great in this film. He reminds me a lot of Rick Moranis in Little Shop of Horrors, where he's like this. So he's basically this nerdy guy who's a waiter at like a trendy hipster, not hipster, but beatnik. This is the late 50s, right? So it's a beatnik bar. There's performers in that on stage, and he's just crapped on because he's just normal guy, right? He doesn't have like any sort of finesse or pizzazz or anything like that. He's got nothing cool about him. So all the the women kind of just like look down at him. All his peers look down at him. He's just the waiter guy. Through happenstance, he accidentally. So it's funny. He goes to his crappy apartment. This all happens within the first few minutes, so I'm gonna a little bit spoilery, but it's in the first few minutes.
All right,
it's in the first few minutes just to get you to watch the movie. I know you are, but
I'm already on board.
All right. Well, he goes to his crappy apartment, and I don't know if it was his cat or his landlady's cat is in the wall. It's like that stupid cat gets stuck in the wall again. So he takes a knife to get the cat, to cut the plaster out to get the cat out of the wall, and he jabs the knife in here. So he opens up, he killed the cat. So he decides, like, I gotta hide this cat because he doesn't want his landlady to find out that he killed the cat, right? So he decides to take this clay because he's trying to become a sculptor, and he just covers the cat in clay. Well, then through happenstance, his beatnik friends find this cat covered in clay, and they think that he made a statue. And because it's so detailed and everything, they believe that he's this wonderful sculptor that they have just discovered. So, make us some more stuff and all that. And, once you cover one live thing in
How come
Play.
you're spoiling the whole movie for me
That's it.
now?
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
It's
Once
like
you
you
do
just
that,
I could have went into this thing totally blind, saying, you know what, I'm going to enjoy this. Now I know everything I'm looking for.
no, you don't. No, you don't. Trust me, you don't. You don't. You think you do. You think you do. Anyways, it was a really fun movie. Really great performance by Dick Miller.
All right.
Good movie.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that one. I think that might be easier to find than The Enforcer. Although
It
I'm sure
might be.
both of these are. Well, I might have to do some shopping internationally here. All right.
Okay, I did watch
Yeah,
Peninsula,
Kevin
which
is just like today's trailers. All he needed was the pause and all the sound going out.
I'm just trying to tickle your ass with a feather. That's all.
Mhm.
Okay. I did watch Peninsula, which is the sequel to Train to Busan, which is a movie I talked about a little while ago. It's a movie that takes place in Japan, where they get onto this train and they're taking it down to, or is it Hong Kong? I can't remember. I'm bad.
I don't think there's Busan in Japan.
All right, Busan is in Hong
Well, I
Kong, so
may
it must have
not
been Hong
know
Kong.
that.
So they get on this power train, and there's all zombies and everything like that. Anyways, they made this sequel, the Peninsula, which it's Hong Kong, of course, because Hong Kong is a peninsula. Anyways, sequel is a little more like the first one was like a thriller, like a genuine kind of zombie thriller. This one was just more of an action film. Not as great, but I watched it. Okay, last movie I'm going to talk about, Cop Car. I finally watched Cop Car. It was
the Kevin Bacon movie.
It was going to leave Tubi in 4 days, so I'm like, I better get to Cop Car. Great film. I really like this kind of movie. Talk to me, not my kind of movie. Cop Car, that's my kind of movie. Just loaded with suspense. So these, two juvenile delinquent kids that are not all that bright find this cop car out in the bush, as we like to call it here in Northern Ontario. And there's, nobody's around. The cops are around. There's a beer bottle on the hood of the cop car, but nothing, no cops around. They go inside. They, vroom vroom, we're pretending to drive the cop car, and then they find the keys, and then they decide to go on a joyride. Meanwhile, the cop who owned the car was kind of off doing something nefarious. And when he came back, his cop car was missing. So now it's like this. He's got to find the cop car because he's the sheriff of this local area, and he's up to no good. He's up to bad things. And he's got to find the cop car before the legit police discover that his cop car is missing and he doesn't know where it is, because if they find that cop car, there's going to be trouble. See, that's all I give away. I don't spoil anything here. But anyways, it was a great, solid film. A lot of tension. Not that long. It was only about an hour and a half.
And quite a shocking ending for me.
Yeah, it was. It
was appropriate for
yes.
the cautionary tale that they're telling, but I was a little like, ooh.
We could talk about the ending, but I don't want to spoil anything. We'll talk about it after we stop recording. But Catherine Mayhem, whatever the heck her name is. She used to be on The Practice. She has a little role in the film.
Yeah. She has a little role towards the end.
And the brother, Steve Buscemi's brother from Boardwalk Empire, is the hit, or I don't want to say hit man, the other guy in the film. And he has a nice little role in the movie as well. Definitely my kind of movie. I love these kind of films. Not as good as say Blue Ruin or Green Room, but it's of that caliber. And the director of that movie, he's the one that went on to do all the current Spider-Man movies, which is interesting because how he handles the child actors in Cop Car is nothing like how they are in the Spider-Man films.
Well, once you get to big Hollywood money.
Well, no, I'm appropriate for both films, but it kind of surprised me that some executive on the what is it, Marvel or Disney board or whatever, saw Cop Car and said, that's the guy that we need to make the Spider-Man movies, because it's a little different. Anyways, so if anything, I recommend that you watch Bucket of Blood. I recommend that you watch Cop Car. And I'm recommending that you watch The Enforcer and maybe Braddock, Missing in Action 3, maybe. All for different reasons. All for different
reasons, yeah.
But,
I think I've only seen the first Missing in Action. I watched probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 Chuck Norris movies within the past year.
Yeah.
And can't really tell one from the other.
I just watched 3 and I'm having trouble remembering what happened in what. So I totally get it.
There is one that was pretty good though. I think it was the Delta Force.
So from what I read,
that one,
yeah, I've heard that those are actually better than these Missing in Action films.
The Delta Force, it's one of those movies. It's an airplane hostage situation,
right?
And all of Chuck Norris's scenes feel like they were from a different movie and just spliced in, and then you go to the airplane stuff.
Right.
The Chuck Norris stuff is boring. It's so bad and so dull and repetitive, and it's like, why did this happen? Now this is happening. I don't know. But the airplane stuff is genuinely tense and fun and well done. And then eventually they cross paths.
Yeah. I don't know.
There are elements there.
All right.
Well, I don't have the list that you do. But I do have Spaceballs.
I love
the
that
Blu-ray.
Movie. I love that movie. The Blu-ray. That's awesome.
I bought this used somewhere, and someone had put that on there, and I won't take it off.
That's perfect. Very appropriate.
I put this on the other night, and I was like, "Oh man, I've seen that so many times. Am I really gonna watch it?" Like, I'll watch it with the commentary. I'll get the Mel Brooks commentary and see what he has to say. One of the more lackluster commentaries. I hate when you come across one that's just kind of like, you're not giving me anything here.
Yeah.
And now, admittedly, throughout the commentary, he repeats himself over and over, saying, "I don't know what to say. Why am I doing this?" Which is kind of funny in its own right, but it's one of those commentaries where a scene will come up and he'll say, "Oh, this is a scene where they go to ludicrous speed. Watch, he's going to hit the thing. See, look, it's saying light speed, and now it says ridiculous, and now it's ludicrous." And look at him. He's really doing a great job there. Oh, that was a fun scene. And he's basically just telling you what's happening on screen. So there weren't really any, like, a lot of behind the scenes. This is how we accomplished this shot, or this is why we went in this direction. Like that. What I did learn though is that the two guys, he wrote the film with 2 other guys, and one of them is the guy that plays the priest who's marrying them at the end, Lone Star and Princess. Why am I blanking on her name? Princess Thespa. Yes, thank you.
She, that guy's been in quite a bit of his movies. Like
he's a collaborator, but I didn't know that he was the writer also.
No,
very standout performance in that movie. I bought a few more rental movies that they were getting rid of, and I don't know. Have you ever seen Turner and Hooch?
That is one of the movies that we had on VHS when I was a kid. Like, we didn't have the commercial VHS. We had it like recorded off TV. And I remember loving it as a kid. And I'm kind of afraid to watch it now because I think adult me wouldn't appreciate it. So I just kind of...
All right. Well, then all the ins and outs of this movie.
I really don't.
You know the ending.
I don't remember it. No.
Okay. Then I don't know if I want to say this. Everybody plug your ears if you don't want spoilers.
I'll take the spoilers.
I just want to say that when I bought this, my wife was with me, and I was like, "All right, I got this Turner and Hooch movie. I've never seen it before." And then she says, "Oh, doesn't happen?" And I was like, "Great, I've never seen this movie. Why did you just tell me that?" And then I'm thinking like, "No, that's not gonna happen. Not in this movie."
What, does he have sex with the dog? What is it? I can't remember. You
No,
gotta
you
tell
don't
me now.
remember?
No.
Well, I'm sorry. Spoilers for anybody who cares, anyone who's listening to this. I buy it, and she's like, "Oh, doesn't the dog die in the end?"
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "No, what? I didn't see this. Why'd you tell me that?" And
Yeah,
then I'm like, "No, it's a buddy cop movie with Tom Hanks and a dog. He's not gonna die at the
yeah,
end.
yeah, yeah. It's
Dog
sad.
friggin' gets shot and dies in the end."
The dog is like the partner that's like he's one more day till retirement kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's also set up as the odd couple thing, he's
Hmm.
the neat and tidy guy, and
Right,
then,
right.
oh, yeah, the dog. And I was playing it in my head. I was like, okay, I can kind of see every beat this movie's gonna do. I was like, all right, he's gonna be the cop who has an issue. Maybe he doesn't, he has a partner, nobody wants to work with them or something. Then he gets teamed up with the dog, and then they're not gonna get along. He's gonna wreck the house, and then they learn to appreciate each other, save the day, blah blah blah. He loves the dog at the end, which is essentially what happens. But then just the idea that the dog dies and then he gets another dog that looks just like him. I was like, what?
That's the '80s, man. It was ruthless
Well,
back
I
then.
I did notice that there were like 3 or 4 screenwriters on this. It was one of those things where the
Oh,
script cast hands and like,
yeah,
okay, rewrite this and rewrite this.
kept changing.
The one thing you got to watch it for though, yet another appearance of Carl Winslow,
Oh, as a
cop
cop,
extraordinaire,
right on. Good job, Carl.
after Ghostbusters and before Family Matters,
Yeah.
maybe right around the same time as Die Hard. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's your go-to cop
Uh,
guy.
yeah. Another movie that I had never seen before. I was always curious about the Robert Zemeckis film Death Becomes Her with
I've
Bruce
never seen
Willis,
it.
Goldie Hawn, and
Yeah.
what's the name? Meryl Streep. Um, Good, not great. Some really fun stuff in here, but overall, I kind of
Yeah.
liked it, but I think it's got a few pacing issues. But a lot of fun stuff in there. I was just always intrigued by the images of the twisted backwards head and the hole in her stomach and everything
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I actually didn't know that
Uh,
was a Zemeckis film. I've always seen that
I didn't know
cover.
until I picked it up.
Okay.
Apparently, I think it did win like best special effects or something that year, because there's some neat of the time special effects,
Yeah.
and it's got that fun, charming thing. Bruce Willis, boy, sometimes he's just a terrible actor for me. It's like I can't buy his performance in a lot of things, and this is one of them where it feels like he's trying to be a quirky actor, but he doesn't know how to be a quirky actor.
Yeah. Really, for me, Bruce Willis, it comes down to two films: Die Hard and Sixth Sense. And even in Sixth Sense, he's not really emoting that much or anything like that. Uh,
Yeah.
for
I
reasons.
think he was well cast in the Sin City role, where he's just kind of has to be fairly
Yeah.
flat and blank.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn really fun in this, and there is some. I won't spoil it, but I thought the ending was wonderful. This movie did feel quite a bit like Tales from the Crypt. It felt like a really long, stretched out, overly long Tales from the Crypt episode, which
Okay.
Zemeckis was part of that too. He
Right.
was like
Right.
a producer or whatever on that.
Hmm. Be interesting
Feels
to
like that.
see if that was like that movie started off as maybe an episode of that.
There's probably a potential for something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, this is a really good idea. Let's drag it out. Oh, one of the other things I noticed in here, I've been this is the second time I've noticed it. This movie and Falling Down. A few months ago, on Netflix, this documentary came up about American Gladiators, the old TV show from the 80s.
Right.
And it was just about like the behind the scenes, and it's all the standard stuff you'd expect to hear, like, they're not getting paid, people are
Hmm.
using steroids and all that kind of stuff. But I hadn't watched American Gladiators since I was a kid, so I was watching this, and then they're interviewing everybody, and so their faces became fresh again. And I was watching this, and there's an American Gladiator, has a cameo.
Oh yeah.
Well, like a non-speaking role, just muscle guy,
Right. Right.
in the back. I was like, oh, that's one of the American Gladiators. And same thing with Falling Down. There's the scene at the pier at the end. There's all the people standing around their swimsuits. Like, oh, that's an American Gladiator.
Oh.
He,
Well, there.
he's muscle guy in background.
Cool. I
There
never
you
really
go.
watched American Gladiators like as a kid or whatever.
I think if you watch one episode,
Yeah.
you'll get the gist of it, and you're like, okay, I don't need to watch any more because it's just the same thing
Right. Right.
over and over again.
Well,
It was fun.
it was like everyday guys trying to beat the gladiators, right? At some sort of event or something.
Yeah, apparently, I guess the very first episodes they had, the competitors were also giant muscle guys.
Oh, okay.
So it looked like pro wrestling, but then they retweaked it, they changed a few things, and then there's like, okay, we need fit people, but they need to be like David and Goliath. They need to
Right.
look like they're going up against these big gladiators. So,
Right.
and that, I guess, made it more appealing for the viewer because then you more associate with the competitor, the challenger.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll mention is I did watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest again,
Yep.
and I think we did that for the show
I think
originally.
with Jack, we did a Jack Nicholson episode.
Okay, yeah. And I think that was the first time I had ever watched it.
Yeah.
So since then, I've heard that the movie, I don't remember if we even discussed this, was kind of a metaphor for communism versus democracy.
No, I
And
don't
so I
remember
was
that.
watching it I was watching it this time with that in mind, and it's like, oh yeah, absolutely. There's so much going on because Jack Nicholson wants the right to watch the baseball game and to
Right.
do this and that, and then the staff, they're saying, no, we're playing this music for everybody. You can't stay in your room by yourself, you have to be out here with everybody.
Mm.
We're controlling when you get your cigarettes and all this, and you see all those little details of basically they're looking for freedom, and then the communist regime is like keeping everybody
In check.
sedate and
Right.
in check. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
a fantastic movie outside of that as well, performance and all that. Jack Nicholson, I think he's probably kind of a jerk to be around in real life, but man, he's quite a great actor.
Well, yeah. Now that you say that, well, the I can't remember the writer's name. The guy who wrote that, he wrote there. It's based on a book, right? And that guy is like,
Yeah. I don't remember the.
he is like a super hippie kind of guy, and that's the one book he wrote, and he just lives off the royalties from that one book. It's interesting guy.
Who wrote this?
Wrote this.
Well, I know that the author was not happy with the film because it deviated too much from his original message. Apparently, the character of the chief, I think, was supposed to be the main character, and it was
Right.
told from his perspective as an observer to these events.
Yes.
But they basically made Jack Nicholson the main for it.
Right. Well, when you get Jack Nicholson, Ken Casey, the guy.
Ken Casey, all right.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. I think that's it. I've been watching Oz, which is that old HBO show.
The Wizard of Oz?
No, it's about a prison
Mm-hmm.
called Oswald Prison. It takes place in like a fake state kind of thing, but the idea is it's kind of like an Attica situation where it's the prison is like the only thing in this small town, kind of like Action Park, where it's the only employer in this small town. So everything that happens at this prison is kind of amplified because everybody's jobs are tied into this prison kind of thing. Ernie Hudson plays a lead role in the film. He's quite good in it. He plays the warden. And now the show itself started off really good. Like it was really like that HBO quality kind of thing. They were obviously not used to letting the viewer remember things because there are a lot of flashbacks. Like, hey, remember this when this happened, kind of thing, and that because back in the day, like television wasn't serialized, right? It was all just like you went episode by episode kind of thing.
Yep.
Every episode was self-contained. Where a show like Oz, this was pre-Sopranos, soap operas were always serialized, but they were very simple stories. Where this is kind of trying to tell more complex stories. And I'm enjoying it. We're on season 4 now. There's only 8 episodes per season. And I am enjoying it, but a lot of the storylines are kind of crazy. Like there's this one doctor. She's actually played by the chief in Dexter. You watched Dexter, right?
I saw, I think, the first 5 seasons.
Okay.
And everyone said it has a terrible ending, so
it does.
I never
I don't
got to that. And then they did like a little mini thing within the past couple of years. And
I didn't watch it. I don't care. But I remember with Dexter, the last really good season was with John Lithgow. That was like the last.
I think I remember that was like the 3rd or 4th season.
Yeah, I think. That. Yeah, and then it kind of. Anyways, a lot of the actors on Oz went on to be on Dexter, and Maria, I think was her name on Dexter. She was like the captain, like the boss kind of thing.
Okay, I'm not.
Anyway, on Oz, she plays this doctor, and I mean, one of the inmates kills her husband. Another inmate rapes her. She's still working at Oz. It's like, wouldn't you quit your job? Like, quit this? It is. A lot of the storylines are kind of crazy, kind of out there. It's like they've taken like a lot of stories about prisoners and they kind of incorporated them into these very like this small pool of characters, because you can only have so many actors on a TV show, especially pre-Sopranos HBO, which had like a real strict budget kind of thing. Like the reason why they only did 8 episodes because they only had so much money, right? They're doing like full-on 1-hour episodes. Anyways, it's about a prison, and within the prison, there's this place called Emerald City, where the prison is trying to do this rehabilitation. At the time, like this is all from the late 90s, right? So at the time, this was like a new kind of strategy to rehabilitate prisoners by giving them a little bit of a higher standard of living conditions kind of thing. So this one guy took like some of the worst people in the prison and he's trying to give them like a little bit of a better life. Like they don't live behind bars, they're behind glass. They don't have to wear prison garbs. They can wear their own kind of clothes. And they have a little more freedom. And the strategy, the thinking is that they'll be able to rehabilitate these guys so they can go back into society once they're done, instead of just locking them up for so many years. And because like, what does that do to a person, right? It's like you did a bad thing, we'll lock you up. Then they enter back into society and they just end up committing more crime because that's all they know, right? So this is like, let's try to get them an education and all that. And it's like, it is layered and textured, in that kind of thing where all the characters are not simple. They all live in this area of gray. They have reasons for doing things and that. So it is compelling on that level. But when you think about it, it's like John McClane in that first movie, in the first Die Hard, right? It's like all this crazy stuff happens to John McClane. Well, that's a once in a lifetime thing until Die
Mhm.
Hard Part 2, where the crazy stuff happens to him again. You know, and it's kind of like how much crazy stuff can happen to these people before they just mentally just give out. You know?
Hey, it's 1 in a million.
Yeah. Yeah.
John
So,
McClane is a magical guy.
anyways, it is a compelling show. It is still interesting to watch, but it's definitely a little bit dated in a lot of its production and whatnot. But Ernie Hudson's there, so I'm just going to keep on plugging. It's got that Ghostbusters connection,
Nice.
and that's
I've
it.
been trying to watch more TV. I watched one episode of Star Trek.
Okay.
Just randomly. It was a terrible season 3 episode where the kids go like this.
Oh, I hate that episode. Bam, bam, bam. Oh,
Pound their fists, and then the Christmas
magic
tree alien
happens.
comes
Yeah.
out, and
And that's where they're
Kirk
like
has
doing
to like hug the kids and save them from the monster.
they're doing like a seance on the bridge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something volcano, magic, devil, wizards, thing.
That third season had a lot of cringe.
Hmm.
But again, that was a show that had a decent budget when it was Desilu for the first 2
Mhm.
seasons. And then Paramount took it over and they just slashed the budget and they tried their best.
Hmm.
If you watch that second season, man, they had like, let's build the Klingons an actual ship. Instead of just having like a dot on the screen, let's actually have Klingons have a ship, and they would go to locations, to do shoots instead of just standing in front of styrofoam rocks with the silk screen behind them. They would actually.
Mhm.
But then third season came out, cut that budget.
Hmm.
There's your Star Trek talk. I think we've done it. We've done it all. We said it all.
We've
Nothing left.
done it.
All right.
I think so.
Well, thanks, Rocket Sauce, for being the one person in the chat. Oh, Sarah did have a comment. And Deke from the Distortion Pit
Yeah.
had a comment. So there we go. Well, not too
Okay.
bad.
Well, thank goodness I didn't spoil Turner and Hooch for too many people.
Look, that's an old movie. You can spoil that. Anyways, I can't spoil a movie from 1955 though. Apparently, Dick.
No,
Miller.
you can't.
Anyways, that was a good movie.
Once it becomes too old, it comes around again.
Yeah, I guess.
It's old as new.
All right. I guess that's it. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Ending the stream. Come on. End you.